To the special Board of Selectmen meeting, or the Board of Selectmen special meeting, Friday, June 20th, 2025. Let's all rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. And Lisa Claire will lead us in the pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, great, thank you. Okay. Item number 3, this will be the police chief, I think it's Captain Hector Irizarry is going to be presenting this item, right? And Deputy Chief Wyatt. To hear, consider, and act on authorizing the purchasing authority to enter into the proposed contract between the town of Fairfield and Ultimate Inc. of Lanham, Maryland, to implement and maintain an automatic traffic enforcement safety device program as detailed in Town of Fairfield RFP number 2025-60R, and the Aliment submission dated May 28, 2025, for an initial base term not to exceed 3 years, with additional authority to enter into future extensions with similar terms and conditions upon mutual agreement. May I have a motion?
So moved.
Second. Deputy Chief Wyatt, did I pronounce Aliment correctly?
Ultimate.
I
struggle with it a little bit myself.
Okay.
Thanks for having us.
You and Captain Irizarry.
So Ultimate is a US-based company specializing in automated traffic enforcement and AI-driven safety technology. They provide end-to-end solutions that include traffic cameras, violation detection, citation processing, and data management. Their systems are designed to improve public safety by reducing speeding, crashes, and other traffic violations, particularly in sensitive areas like school zones. The company takes pride in offering fully managed, cost-neutral programs that require no upfront investment from municipalities, instead being funded by violators. Their commitment to innovation, reliability, and community safety has earned them a strong reputation nationwide. They are also one of 3 pre-qualified vendors for the Capital Region Council of Governments for the Greater Hartford region. Ultimate was selected by the town of Fairfield following a competitive request for proposals, RFP process in which 3 vendors submitted bids. After a comprehensive review, Ultimate stood out for their proven success with similar programs in other jurisdictions, their ability to deliver and maintain equipment and services at no cost to the town, and their focus on transparency, accuracy, and data security. Their partnership will support Fairfield's goals of improving roadway safety and enforcing traffic laws in a way that is fair, effective, and efficient. And thus, we respectfully request approval to enter into a contract with Ultimate to be the provider of our ATESD systems.
Thank you. Yeah, I know this was a pretty comprehensive process, and thank you for all your hard work on this. And how many devices, did you have to give them a number of devices, or is that, can that change based on need?
What was our original?
6 school zones.
6 zones, okay.
And so approximately 2 cameras per school zone. So we're looking at 12 cameras for the initial install.
Okay, thank you. Any questions or comments, Christine?
Pending approval, how quickly would it be before these cameras get installed?
I'm very optimistic, Christine, that they would be installed by the beginning of the school year. That is our goal. But we'll see. I'm hoping it's at least closer to the beginning of the school year.
Do they install the warning signs, or is that something the town has to do?
The Ultimate will cover all of cameras, the MUTCD signage before and after each location.
Okay. And that's going to be like, 100 feet, speed camera at 100 feet.
Yes, sir. Photo enforced MUTCD signage with the approximate distances as well.
That's great. So they take care of all of that. We don't need to go through the LTA yet.
Well, there will be an LTA approval process.
For the signage?
For the signage, yes, sir. So what Ultimate will basically do is they're going to handle all of the studies related to the speed camera installs, and they would submit their proposal first to the LTA for approval, and then that gets forwarded to OSTA for the OSTA approval from the state level.
Fantastic. Christine, any other questions?
No other questions.
Back to the, any comments from the public? Don't see any public on. Okay, back to the board. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Unanimous? Thank you very much.
So much.
Deputy Chief Waya, and this is very good. Yeah, very good step.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for all your work on this.
Thank you, sir.
Take care. Have a great weekend. You too.
Thank you.
Okay, item number 4, Communications Director Lisa Clare is here. To hear, consider, and act on approving a media sponsorship agreement between WSHU-FM and the town of Fairfield for the period of June through October 2025 for WSHU to act as media sponsors for the town of Fairfield's Safe Streets Alliance campaign, and further authorizing the first selectman to sign any documents in furtherance of said agreement. This approval also includes the authorization to enter into renewals of the agreement on similar terms and conditions. May I have a motion? Thank you, Christine. Seconded. Lisa Clare, Director of Communications, is here. Can you tell us about this program? Thank you.
So the Fairfield Safe Streets Alliance is a campaign that will educate the public and the residents of Fairfield about driving more safely, using the roadways more safely with pedestrians and bikers. And it will last from the launch date of Monday, June 23rd through October. We solicited WSHU Public Radio to be our sponsor in this regard. They have given us a package that has a total value of $5,850 at no charge to the town. And what they have offered in that sponsorship is to give us 50 separate run-of-show spots, which means that they go throughout the period of the day when there's often music playing. And then on the talk and news frequencies, they'll give us 12 spots. And they, in addition, will offer us an opportunity to keep an ad on their website with a link to the Fairfield Safe Streets Alliance. And then finally, they will give us 1 week per month for July, August, September, and October, where they will once again run spots for us, 12 throughout the news programming, letting people know about the Safe Streets Alliance. And the spots are something like this. They are under very strict FCC regulations, so they are not typical ads the way you would have them on other for-profit programming stations. But they will say things like, local support comes from the Town of Fairfield's Safe Streets Alliance campaign. In 2024 alone, Fairfield had over 1,100 crashes, with traveling too closely as the top cause. More at fairfieldct.org. And so they'll do a number of those, just giving some statistics and some things that will drive people's interest in finding out more about the campaign. And that's it.
So the Safe Streets Alliance campaign will be kicking off on Monday at 10 o'clock.
10:30.
People will start to gather.
10 o'clock would be a great time to gather.
And there's a pretty full agenda. We're going to have speakers, but also a simulator.
We will have a crash simulator, which is called the Convincer, and it's supposed to convince people to wear their seatbelts. So it goes actually at a speed between 5 and 10 miles an hour, and you just go down a slide. You're put into a seatbelt and you get on a slide, but when you watch it on video, you see the impact. And it's really a little startling, and people get off, and the state police sometimes will say, do you want me to make it go faster? And everyone says no. So I think that just understanding like what it feels like at that slow rate of speed makes people think more carefully about the speed they're traveling.
So Lisa has led the way on a large campaign to try to make our streets safer. Lisa brought together the schools, the police, fire, and
Health.
I'm sorry.
Health, libraries.
And, our Department of Health, the library. They've been meeting weekly, and Bike Pedestrian Commission, you've been meeting weekly for like the last 6 to 9 months.
Yeah, we thought it'd go a lot faster, but what we realized is that, when we sat down to start working, we thought, oh my gosh, we can knock this out in a couple of months. But realistically, the campaign is very similar to what an agency would undertake. So first we created an umbrella alliance, which is the authority that speaks for the town of Fairfield and the group. And then a number of message points that allow us to ask people to sign a pledge, to put a lawn sign on their lawns, to put a car magnet, to have their kids sign the pledge, and to maybe start to take additional responsibility for their own behavior on the roads.
And not to toot your horn, but I will anyway, because you applied for a $5,000 grant and you were awarded that grant. So this campaign is going to cost the town nothing.
Costs nothing.
And it's hopefully going to help save lives and cars and, bones
And pedestrians and crosswalks, yeah.
Yep. Lisa got a $5,000 grant from WestCog for this program, for this, it's really a 3 E's program. It's one E is enforcement, and that is the police and stopping people and ticketing. And 1E is engineering, and we're looking at putting engineering solutions in place on roads that slow people down, sort of changing the geometry of some dangerous roads. And the last E is education. And so this campaign is the education E, right?
Yes.
And Lisa managed to get sponsors from Porsche. The Penske Group has sponsored this campaign, and WSHU, Trek Bicycle and Cycle Dynamics have donated bikes for the raffle. Am I missing?
Minuteman Press.
Minuteman Press
Came on
has
as our video
donated,
sponsor.
We what?
They're our video sponsor.
A2 video.
And A2, well, Minuteman Press came on with an $1,800 pledge to sponsor the videos that have been created pro bono by A2V Media, our
That's
filmmakers.
Alex Vishnu.
Alex Vishnu and his group, which they did 1 2-minute PSA, and they have 7 additional 30-second spots, which highlight different parts of the program and different individuals who have a role in town to speak to safety, including our first select.
They did an incredible job, and people haven't seen, no one's seen these yet.
No one's seen these yet. We're going to roll them out starting Monday.
They did such, Alex is an Emmy award-winning videographer, filmmaker, and he's done an incredible job pulling this together. Very, very comprehensive media campaign. And Minuteman Press with banners. Also, Fairfield Ward High School ran a competition for the logo.
That was a really important part of getting the schools to come on board. We had a junior level graphics design class from Fairfield Ward High School, and they ran a contest to design our logo. And we had probably 20 different logos to choose from, and then we gave them feedback and they refined them. And yeah, so we're going to be promoting the individual who won the logo contest. Now that we're rolling out the campaign, we'll do some social media posts around her too. So
I'm really looking forward to this. And this is education, not just for drivers, but for e-bike drivers and bicyclists and pedestrians. How you're supposed to cross, where you're supposed to cross. For e-bikes, how you're supposed to ride your bike, and how you turn to be the safest for everyone involved.
yeah, absolutely. And for pedestrians, we'll have some things like just wear brightly colored reflective clothing. Do the simple things that keep you safe on the roads.
So Christine, the reason we're bringing this WSHU media, what we call it, sponsorship, is because all contracts longer than 3 months are supposed to come before the RTM in front of the Board of Selectmen. Even though there's no cost to it, it's the donation, the value of this.
$5,800.
$5,000. Yeah, if someone were to buy these media slots, and WSHU has a huge listenership, so this is going to be very helpful. Thanks so much, Lisa. This is great stuff.
My pleasure.
Any comments or questions, Christine?
And Lisa, you feel this is great. Thank you for all of your hard work on this. Very exciting. In terms of the spots, are they written already, or is that a next step?
Well, they're already written, some of them. We can continue to refine them. But so, for instance, over the next couple of days, they'll say the Town of Fairfield Safe Streets Alliance, presenting a new campaign focusing on making the roads safe for all, has a kickoff event on Monday, June 23rd at 10:30 a.m. So they'll be helping us to promote this over the next couple of days. And then we'll move to, just more things about local support comes from the Town of Fairfield Safe Streets Alliance campaign. With over 12,600 traffic stops in 2024, the public is encouraged to reimagine safer, calmer streets in Fairfield, fairfieldct.org. So there's a number of different spots that will give people the impetus to want to do better, or to at least pay closer attention to what they're doing when they're driving.
Awesome. Okay.
No other questions?
Yeah, no other questions?
Nope.
Any comments from the public? Yes, Chelsea.
What station is WSHU?
It's 91.1, and it's Fairfield-based, which, yeah. They actually broadcast into Long Island and different places, but it has a very strong Fairfield listenership.
So cool that Chelsea asked the question. So you can ask questions anytime you want. All right, any other comments from the public? Or seeing none, back to the board. We'll take this to a vote. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All right, passes unanimously. Lisa, this is one of the coolest things. Thank you.
Thank you.
And thank you to Sacred Heart University, who
Absolutely.
is a fantastic partner for the town of Fairfield on many fronts. And on this front, they were a willing and eager partner to participate in this. Unfortunately, Dr. Patillo can't go to the launch on Monday.
No.
He's going to be in Italy.
Well, that's better.
All right.
All right,
All right,
thank
well,
you.
thank you. Thank you, Lisa. Congrats. Okay, the next item on the agenda, item 5, First Selectman, Bill Gerber, to hear, consider, and act on approving department heads' benefits package and annual COLAs. May I have a motion? Seconded. Kathleen Simpson is here. Thank you. Thanks for coming, Kathleen.
Sure,
You want to lead us through this?
I will. One of the things that we had to work on was trying to make this policy, the benefit summary for department heads, up to date and clean it up, but also make sure that we can recruit department heads with other municipalities and make sure that we have a good benefit summary for our department heads. So starting with compensation, salaries are staying the same, but the one thing we know with longevity, it's kind of a thing we're removing from our contracts. Basically that there was increases, and you'll see that in the bullets, for people who are there for 5 years, 10 years, or 15 years, and that would roll into your salary. So it wouldn't be a standalone stipend, it would also be part of compensation. And for those with defined benefit pensions, this would be part of the calculation. So keeping in line with our movement, getting away from that in other contracts, we also wanted to make sure that we want to give something, understanding that making it kind of mirror PETA's, we have that, we're ceasing that, and also the nurses and other contracts. So that was one thing that we decided July 1st, 2025, this won't be offered any longer. The other change, one of the things that we thought about, well, if we're going to not have this longevity, what do we do to attract and retain our talent? And we looked at the defined contribution 401 plan. And we looked at some other municipalities, and one of them was Stamford, and they offer their department heads up to a matching of 10%. And 4% seemed pretty low compared to if you like, I'm saying one thing with Stamford, but also we don't offer pensions. And if we're don't have longevity, what can we offer? And this is I think a very nice, very good alternative for our department heads. And so if you see there, the vesting schedule is there. The only thing that changed after 2 years is 66%. The other years remain the same, first year 33% and 3 years 100%. The other change is that we looked at also, again, the vacation allotments. Some people were getting vacations because they started at a certain year. They were getting accruals of 1.66% each month, which ended up being 20 days. And then other people got 20 days right out of the box after July 1st. So we're like, well, let's just make that equal.
Uniform.
Right. And then also payouts for vacation. You have to be here at least a year to get a payout. So to make sure we corrected that, because if someone left after a month and they had 20 days in their bucket, it seemed not a good idea that they can walk off with a 20-day payout for not even being here for a full year.
So should we talk about non-union department heads separately from elected officials?
Yes,
Okay,
we're going to, the elected officials, I think, are,
Okay. And then we'll talk about the COLAs separately as well. So from what so it sounds like, the longevity has been a real difficult thing for the town, especially when employees stay for a long time. They get a longevity bump. Let's say it's 5%. That 5% increase, if they're here 10 years and then 15 years and then 20 years, they'll get these increments, like 5% bumps that go into their base salary. And then when you do that, that means going forward with every cost of living adjustment, it's accrued to the bump, the increased salary. So there's a cumulative effect that can be difficult for the town financially, and we've seen that. And I know this is something you've been looking to change.
yes.
So we're going to replace, in order to do that, we're replacing that with a higher match of, instead of 4%, of 10%.
Correct.
And that provides, and those vest, so that provides some incentive to stay and to come and to stay. And that 10% is more in line with, I've found this now myself in talking with people in other towns, that 10% is more the norm, 4% is very low.
Well, particularly we're speaking about high-level department heads who have, they're not in the union, they have a lot of responsibility, and we're trying to be competitive to make them, we want to get the talent and have them stay. And that is, I think, a good incentive, and it also makes more sense than longevity, because the other thing with longevity, the problem with rolling into the salary, as we found, it creates an unrealistic comparison, because now it's not really what the job value is, just because you've been here a long time.
Right,
So.
and there's some people making so much more than other
Right.
people in the same typical jobs, because all of these increases have accrued COLAs over time, or compounded, I guess is the right way to put it.
And the other thing we realized doing our rollovers now, it's a fun time and for finance and HR with the rollovers, that we found that this year particularly was tough, because we had new managers coming in. They could not take their vacation accruals, and they can only roll over 15 days. And the problem with that is several of them had to be here. For instance, like within operations, you can't leave project management and just say, hey, I'm going to take off because I need to take my vacation. So we looked at this and said, well, what can we do? And we don't want to make it everybody gets a payout. But for those particular circumstances where someone really could not be given a vacation, it could be the budget going into demands thereafter. Right now we have a lot of people scrambling and not here because they got to get their vacation in at the end of the year, because they've been really diligent and responsible, not taking their vacations and doing things that we needed them to do. So we thought, of course, it would be with control and oversight to have the ability to pay out instead of, and also when you roll over even more days, can we really let our key managers go away for 6 weeks at a time? So it kind of, so let's see, what's that? Oh, and the COLAs, we made the COLAs to say at a minimum to reflect the PETA, because that's, most of the managers have PETA under them or supervise them. And we want to make sure there's no compression. So we wanted to put some language in there that at minimum, the COLAs negotiated by the PETA union will be, the managers would get a minimum what the PETA members receive. To avoid that, because if managers, yeah.
Well, we've had a lot of confusion since I've been here about some positions follow PETA, some follow PETA, some, it's just very confusing and has created some errors, I think, some things that needed to be adjusted later on. This will clarify, so they will follow PETA, right? Yep.
They'll follow the PETA with the COLAs, and they won't
Right.
have to wait. We're going to make sure we keep on line with it, instead of waiting, like trying to do catch-up. Which
Yeah, that's
would
been
be-
part of
yeah.
the problem is,
Yes.
since it's been confusing and not automatically or not linked to one thing, it doesn't happen sometimes until a year later, and then you have to do retroactive changes. Now we can just make the changes, and what we're gonna talk about in a few minutes is doing it as of July 1st, so that we won't have to come back and do a retroactive, like we did a few weeks ago.
Yeah, that's right.
In the Board of Selectmen meeting.
And it
Christine,
really.
do you have any questions? But, take a.
Some of these, just the financial impact of making these changes now in terms of budget, or is there any concern?
We're early in the fiscal, so.
Yeah, we're not concerned. I mean, there's going to be an increase in the 401A with an offset because of longevity. Yeah.
An impact, but we are early and it will be spread throughout the budgets, so we believe it'll be okay.
Okay.
Yeah, it's not a big impact.
It's at the department level.
Okay. Any other questions? Okay. Let's take the
COLA?
elected officials next. So,
Okay.
any comments from the public? Chelsea?
That's it.
Back to the board. All in favor, say aye. Okay, thank you. That motion passes. So let's go to the benefits summary for elected officials.
And the only, this change there that was very significant, it's the only change is on the last page, is separation benefits. We removed it, I should note that for both. The separation benefits were removed for both the elected officials and the non-union department heads. So that's the only change in the elected officials package.
Yes.
So,
That's a good change.
yeah, yeah. And
So
also,
change
yeah.
for both. So
Yes.
department heads will not get severance.
Right.
No, that was,
Oh, we didn't change that? I'm sorry. Oh, I apologize. I thought that was taken out.
that's the elect.
For just.
Oh, just, I apologize, okay.
So, yeah, right.
Confusing it with
That
PETA,
makes
they
sense.
got rid of their severance. I apologize.
We did?
Yes, the PETA, we took the severance out of there.
Okay. So
apologies.
department heads are still accrue severance. It's
A week for every year.
a week for every year of service. It's elected officials are not eligible for severance, and we ran into some issues earlier this year and, or last year, so that won't be an issue going forward. Yeah. Thank you. Any questions? Yeah.
Well,
Chris?
just for the elected, for compensation, there's going to be, per the charter, a committee that will determine the salary for the first selectman. Do you think there needs to be clarification on that? And just want to, for the public's sake, right now, there's longevity listed in the benefit summary for elected officials, and the first selectman does not get a longevity bonus, correct?
That's right. Like longevity came out, right, for.
Should have, it should have, I think that.
Well, so,
Okay.
so, I can speak to this. I mean, this is actually, it's a little bit tricky. So ahead of the next election, one of the things that the compensation committee will need to look at is actually, is likely having a separate policy in this form. The goal here
was that the department head, that the first selectman currently has been following simply that entire policy, except on the compensation piece with the longevity, they've historically not been eligible for that, is our understanding. So all this does right now is, instead of going through the entire policy and saying, well, I mean, because for instance, it applies to, like in Bill's instance, anything that predates when he got elected. I mean, there's portions of this policy that bifurcate in different, if you were by this date, you get this, if you're in this date, you get that. What we were really trying to do by bringing this forward to the board today was to just make it very clear, and primarily to the public, that the section that had a lot of controversy about whether someone should or shouldn't take the severance piece, essentially, is to strike that language so it's quite clear that that is out of anything that is affecting the two current elected officials that are on this. Because this whole policy only applies really to two people anyways, whose compensation dollar-wise and insurance premiums are set by separate committees, and whose salary, all that is not affected by this anyways. And a long answer of saying that these severance.
Town clerk, right?
Yes, that their number is their number.
Their number is determined by a compensation committee
Correct.
established by the Board of Selectmen.
And in the case of the clerk, the Board of Finance.
And they've never gotten longevity.
My
So
understanding, no.
So even if that was in the policy, they wouldn't have been awarded longevity as part of it.
You could make a motion now to also strike that, so it's, clear as day that piece isn't in there. Our main objective was to take the policy that was in place, as they, headed into office, and simply just take the severance piece, even though it's been ruled already as not, but to take that out. It's something that really should have probably been done, sooner to be, clear, but it had been kind of punted to be done at the same time as the rework on this.
Where is that in the policy?
The severance is at the very end, the longevity is at the very beginning.
The very end?
Yeah, the severance.
Yeah, it strikes that piece out. That was really the goal, was to just, that had been ruled as
The separation of
not.
benefits is struck.
Yes.
Where's the longevity though?
It's under compensation.
Okay.
On the first page, and that's under salary and longevity.
So in that had been ruled out, we thought at least separate that. And it was an opportunity, because the first selectman, as an example, can't get additional dollar compensation in some form. So for instance, the 10% 401, if a compensation committee wants those terms to apply in the next, ahead of the next election, then they can set those as the terms. So they're now living on a different policy. Days off, things like that, all of that need to be, that's compensation. This agreement, I mean, just to give some additional background, this document, in any, form, that the benefit piece, has historically simply been signed by the first selectman, whoever's in office and done it. I mean, there's some history, bless you, there's some history to it. But even for the department heads, but technically, per the charter, and the town attorney had weighed in on this, per the charter, this is a form of compensation, which means it really all along should have been brought to the Board of Selectmen, at least for the individuals who are listed in the charter, right? So you have non-union, but you have the very specific ones, and in the charter, it does say their compensation needs to be approved by. So giving somebody, something in a 401, giving somebody, something, how many days off they have, whatever it may be, is a form of compensation. And typically, the first select person would just sign this agreement, and that was that.
Can I make a motion to strike the longevity section of the benefit summary for elected officials?
Yeah, that's a clear.
Second? Okay.
Absolutely.
Any discussion?
Do it.
All right. Any discussion, Christine?
No.
I think for clarity, I just don't like that it's there at all because I don't think it should even be a topic of discussion in the future. So,
Yeah.
even though I understand all of your points, David, that it actually
Yeah.
really is form over substance to strike it, but the form might be helpful.
No, it's a good point on the form that we did.
Okay.
I'm just trying to.
Any comments, more questions or comments? Any comments from the public? Back to the board, all in favor say aye for the amendment. All right, this longevity has been stricken from this. That's good. Thanks for bringing that up, Christine.
Sure. I just want to avoid confusion
Yeah.
and have the policy be clear should
Never-
somebody be looking at it in the future. So thank you for making that
Yeah.
motion, Mr. First Selectman.
Yeah.
Okay,
Okay, so any other questions on the benefit summary for elected officials? Seeing none, any comments from the public? Chelsea? Seeing none, back to the board. On the amended benefit summary for elected officials with the stricken items of, separation benefits have been stricken and longevity has been stricken. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Unanimous. Thank you, Kathleen. Thanks, David, for helping. So I think we are now on, I'm sorry. We're on, for the Board of Selectmen approval, the cost of living adjustment of 2.75% proposed as of 7/1 of July 1st. And this will allow us to not have to come back a year from now and do this retroactively, which is really the intention to do it in advance.
Make it align with PETA because then it makes it equitable. We don't have to worry about the compression
Right.
piece.
Okay, thank you. May I have a motion?
Moved.
Okay, seconded. Anything else to discuss on, I think you've already sort of run us through this. 2.75% cost of living adjustment, which is in line with PETA. And if we don't do it now, and it'll start as of July 1st, we'll end up doing this with retroactive adjustments next year. And this will avoid that.
Yes. And
Okay, any questions or comments?
No.
Any comments from the public? Chelsea's shaking her head, no. Okay, back to the board. Sorry, Chelsea, I just, back to the board. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All right, fantastic. I think we are done on benefits. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone. Have a wonderful weekend.
You too. Thank you so much, Kathleen. May I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Seconded, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Thank you, Christine. Thanks for joining.
Thank you. Have a nice weekend, everybody.
You too. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.